Hello, everyone. We're going to get rolling here. I'm going to start with some organizational announcements and move on into the program. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Dan Gregory. I am co-chair of the steering committee of VMN and involved in various aspects of the entrepreneurship program at Northeastern. So we have three announcements today, and we'll move through them quickly. The first is Lauren Dibble came to us a little bit ago and said that she greatly prefers winters in Northern California to winters in Boston. She is a double Husky. She has worked here for 6 years, I think. And she also is one of the first people to get involved with entrepreneurship with IDEA when we launched it 7 years ago. So she has been a true partner. There are few people, if any people, who know more about all aspects of the entrepreneurship program. She knows where all the bodies are hidden across campus. She has been a tremendously effective partner in all of this. She launched VMN. Those of you who have been here from the start 18 months ago know that she was at this podium. So we are going to miss Lauren tremendously. I would like to ask her to come up and say a few words, but let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Dan. So it's definitely a very bittersweet decision to leave Northeastern and to leave Boston. I love Northeastern. I love this community. But I've reached a point in my life where it's now or never to kind of uproot and make a relocate. So I'll always wonder if I don't, so I've got to give it a shot. But I'm really grateful to Dan and Jeff and Dan and the entire NUSI team for giving me the opportunity to launch the Venture Mentoring Network and to be a part of this team, and to all of you for making this network possible. So I want to stay actively involved, and hopefully this is not goodbye. This is just so long. So I'll visit, and if anyone's on the West Coast after September, let me know. So thank you to all of you, and particularly Dan and Jeff and these guys. So.
So the next announcement involves Catherine Wells, and we hired Catherine 18 months ago into something that we called a program coordinator role, and we honestly didn't think we could reel her in. Catherine had a very distinguished career. She has an MBA from Columbia University. She was a vice president for MasterCard for many years in New York City. She then moved to Connecticut and held a series of jobs doing philanthropic work for nonprofits. We really worried that she would buy into it, but it was Lauren's vision that if we hired someone who could move up, Lauren, one thing that I didn't say about Lauren is she wears many hats and leaves many, a wide swath of responsibilities when she takes off. So our goal was to encourage Catherine to hang in there and to be ready for today, where we would like to announce that she has been promoted to program director of VMN, and she can continue to do her excellent work that she's done for the last 18 months with Venture Mentoring Network. She does not want to make comments at this point because she's going to run the meeting, and she told me if I could hurry up and get off the podium, she would appreciate it. So anyway, congratulations and a round of applause for Catherine. So they wheeled me up here to make organizational announcements. In the last meeting, I thanked Joe Fleming for his role as co-chair with me of VMN. And in the intervening months, I'm happy to report that Jeff, Dan, and I have been working on an individual to join the group as co-chair. Steve Ruggieri has agreed, which I'm delighted. Steve, like Lauren, was around when IDEA got started 7 years ago. I was always amazed or pleased with my conversations with Steve. He asks insightful questions. He's a very precise thinker. And I've always been pleased that he has been interested in our entrepreneurship program generally. When we launched VMN, Steve was one of the first people to raise his hand and get involved. And I've had several opportunities to watch Steve in action as a mentor with ventures. And Steve gets it. He is a gifted mentor who really understands mentoring practice. The goal is not to convince somebody that a mentor's point of view is right. The goal is to get ventures to understand what the right things are for them to do. That is the classic mentoring role, and Steve understands it perfectly. So we were delighted when Steve accepted the role of co-chair of VMN, and I would like to give him a round of applause and welcome him as co-chair. Steve, I would like you to come up and some comments.
Thank you, Dan. When I joined VMN when it was initially formed, I did so because of the broad mission that it had, basically supporting all the colleges across the university, which really resonated with me. When Dan offered me the position of co-chair just recently, it was actually the quality of the people that I worked with over the last year that changed my mind or made me consider it in a positive way. So I really enjoy this organization. It's been a lot of fun. The people are great. The mentors are, very dedicated, and I think that there's a lot of great things to come. So I look forward to, continuing to participate, and also want to say that I'm going to have to work hard to fill Joe's shoes. So thank you.
So I will now turn the proceedings over to Catherine Wells. Catherine?
Thank you, Dan. And I just would like to also extend my best wishes to Lauren. She has been a fabulous mentor. She has more institutional understandings of Northeastern than anyone I've met so far, and I really appreciate your guidance and your support. And there will be an incredible intellectual data dump happening in the next 2 months before she goes. So thank you. We have a very robust agenda today, and without further ado, you are going to hear from our faculty lead in the biotech entrepreneur area. You're going to hear from a student leader, and you're also going to hear from 3 ventures today. So it's a deep dive on biotech entrepreneurship. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Kevin Scanlon. Kevin is a professor of practice. He has served as an entrepreneur in residence for life sciences, and he has recently has officially joined the faculty full term. So he will be a member of the Center for Entrepreneurship Education, focusing on biotech entrepreneurship and beyond. In addition to being a great fan of James Joyce and a citizen of the Emerald Isle, he is a terrific guy, and I know that he is going to take a deep dive into his background and how that background is working to support our entrepreneurs here. So, Kevin, thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. We both have Irish passports. And we do imbibe. First, let me thank you. About 18 months ago, I was sitting here at your Entrepreneur Week. And I had just arrived from California. And where's Lauren? Winter's not all that cracked up to be in California. Although I did come to 9 feet of snow here. And I was very impressed with Entrepreneur Week here. And I spent the next 6 months going to all the entrepreneur innovation centers, business schools in the Boston area. And I came back, and I met Dan, and I told him I was interested in working with Northeastern in entrepreneurship. And between Dan and Mark, we were able to work something out last year, and I was able to teach a course. My background is a little unusual. Can I just push it? Yes. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. I actually have a PhD in molecular biology from the University of London, but I'm on the faculty of the business school. I did the same thing at UCLA, and that caused a lot of problems with the faculty at UCLA and the business school. I got trained in cancer research at Yale, and I had an academic career. Life was very good. I had my own building, and I got an offer I couldn't refuse from the pharmaceutical industry. They had been funding me for about 5 years, and they asked me to take over the cancer program at a German pharmaceutical company called Schering AG. And everybody thought that the CEO was crazy. I was an academic scientist. What in God's name would I know about the pharmaceutical industry? Well, they mentored me very well, and I had 5 years to learn the pharmaceutical industry. And it was an incredible experience. First class is very nice. Jet lag is awful. And after 5 years, you get really trashed. So I came out, and I got introduced to the investment community in Southern California. And the novelty of my experience was I could speak English, I could speak science, and I could speak business. And I immediately was put on the executive committee for the Tech Coast Angels, which is the largest angel group in the United States, about 450 members. And I also joined the Pasadena Angels, where I eventually became vice chairman, chairman, and chairman emeritus. And we looked at about 10,000 applications. We screened about 3,000 companies. We funded about 300. We did have a home run, 200-fold return on investment. But that company was invested the month before I joined the investment community. That's why I'm here teaching. Also, during that time, people asked me, well, what were you doing? Well, I was running an investment group, but that was only 1 day a week. I ran 4 separate biotech companies over that 10-year period. Some good, some bad, some scars, some good returns on investment. And I was able to teach part-time at UCLA. So I got to do the whole thing. When I got here, I saw Mark Meyer's course and his book, and that course fit very nicely into our evaluation of companies. And so by taking his course, my investment experience, and Dan McCarthy and Dan Gregory, their idea, NUSI system and idea companies, I put that on top. And what we did was we put them through a course so that we had an opportunity to give the students what was, a real taste of what was going on. So I thought I'd spend one slide, and just because I'm struggling to understand entrepreneurship at Northeastern, I'm trying to put it onto one slide what entrepreneurship is in Northeastern. The provost has asked me to work with him in helping him understand entrepreneurship and innovation at Northeastern. So I'm working with the provost, the senior vice provost of research, CRI with Tracy, and the Burlington Innovation Center on trying to understand the whole process of the research that's going on here, the potential for commercializing it and getting it into idea. There's about 20,000 students here, undergraduates and graduates. There are multiple degrees from the business school for entrepreneurship and the College of Science and the College of Engineering, minors in entrepreneurship. There's over 32 courses in entrepreneurship. There's boot camps. I'll talk about one of the boot camps we have. There's an infinite number of innovation centers. NUSI, the 2 directors here from NUSI, and the new director was Steve, the new co-director. VMN was the first exposure I had to Northeastern. I was very impressed with it. What we have here today. We have also entrepreneurship clubs. Mosaic is the new step forward in trying to tie together 8 of those entrepreneurship clubs to make some continuity and help for the student entrepreneurs. And they're able to both, Dan Gregory is able to both create that mosaic as well as fund the companies. One of the criteria that I've always asked is, how do we know that the technology is good? What's your criteria? And so one of the things that we're looking for is, how do we validate the technology and how do we move it on to get funded? And one of the criteria is apparently getting companies into mass challenge, getting into the finals. And one of the other things the provost has asked me to do is to connect with the pharmaceutical industry here in Boston, as well as the investment community. And Chris Ford and myself belong to an angel investment group called Sky Ventures, and the uniqueness of Sky Ventures is that it has the pharmaceutical corporate venture funds, as well as venture capital, as well as angel groups. And so for the last 18 months, I've been working with these groups, evaluating the companies, giving them my feedback, and trying to connect them with Northeastern with the right companies. So that's a little bit of my background. Mark Myers asked me to teach a course called Capstone. Suffice it to say, it's a lot easier talking to 5,000 students, 5,000 cancer researchers, or 150 investors. Trying to teach 18 and 20-year-olds entrepreneurship could be a little bit scary, and it was. What we tried to do is have the undergraduate business students learn what the real-life experience is running a company, working as a team, and putting together a document. So we took the idea companies, we had the student teams form in the class, we defined over an 14-week period what the product, what the solution, what the IP and the competition was. We did customer surveys to define the customer and the market. We did a business model, branding, and design. We did financials. We had people from the Mosaic group come in and give talks and work with the teams individually. We did, from my point of view, how do investors evaluate companies? What's their due diligence process? What's a term sheet? That was the best part of the course. I negotiated term sheets with all the companies, and they were horrified at the negotiations. But they found it was a very interesting experience, and so they have a deep knowledge now of the psychology and the terms of negotiating for a term sheet. At the end of it, we did a business plan and a presentation. It was about a 100-page document. It included a business plan at 25 pages, customer survey, presentation, screening, evaluation, due diligence, and a term sheet. That was given back to the idea company's CEO. They could do whatever they wanted with it. The students learned to work as a team, the students learned to produce this document, and the CEO got this, and it was all for free. I was out at Nahant last month at the Marine Center, Research Center at their board meeting, and they have a company that they want to spin out. We went through all of this, and the director turned to me and said, "So how much is this going to cost us?" And I said, "It's free." And he said, no, how much is it going to cost us? He refused to believe that it was for free. So we're going to have one of those classes. Carlo is here. Carlo is the president of the Biotech Entrepreneurs Club. I've worked with him for the last year. They've done an outstanding job, the executive committee and the club. They asked me to do a boot camp. So we took the course for the undergraduates and condensed it down, and we ran it over 6 lectures, 6 presentations, and we took the students' own companies, their ideas, and we put it into the system, just like we did for the undergraduates, and we produced a presentation in front of judges, and we gave them $1,000. So we took our first step into commercializing or help starting or spinning out graduate student technology from Northeastern. So a quick summary of what we've done. Fall semester, I had 19 students in 4 idea companies. Spring semester, we had over 40 students, plus a lot of engineers sitting in. About a third of the class was engineers, about 2/3 were business people. I forced them into teams so they would mix together. We did the graduate student course, 4 student companies we got out of that. Out of the 6 companies that applied to Mass Challenge, all 6 got in, and 3 of those companies got into the finals: Therapeutic Innovation, QSM, and 3D Fortify today. Should have been a 4th one. I'm still pissed off that they didn't get in. So what are we doing for this semester in September? I've gone to several of the faculty members now that I'm a little bit more familiar with it. These are some of the faculty that I've contacted. We're doing seafood barcoding, which we can talk about at some point. We have battery technology, which you're going to hear about. We have a whole series of other. The nursing school, I'm working with the nursing school they had a pitchathon last month. We're trying to find some companies that will come out of that. And we're working with the College of Science to see what technology we can get out of there. So, Carlo. Oh, am I supposed to ask questions or something? Or did I run over? What time is it?
Does anyone have questions? So now we'd like to introduce Mayor Carlo Dennis.
I'll lower this. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Kevin. So my name is Carlo de los Reyes. I'm a PhD student here in chemical engineering. And wherever you are, Lauren, winter is so much better in California. Without further ado, about a year ago and some change, my colleagues and I decided to start the Biotech Entrepreneurs with a vision of encouraging graduate students to pursue life science entrepreneurship. Our address here at 360 Huntington, directly between Longwood and Kendall Square, puts us at the apex, both geographically and intellectually, of a biotech and the biotech startup world here in Boston. So with that idea, we decided to start the Biotech Entrepreneurs. And this is last year's team. We span across the entire university. We're all graduate students, master's or PhD students. Phil, the bottom, this guy, is our in-house MBA student from the DeMoore McKim School of Business. The rest of us are either in chemical engineering or bioengineering. And our membership includes people from the College of Science, the College of Engineering, and DeMoore McKim School of Business. So I can skip ahead a little bit. So this is our mission and our vision. It's long. You don't need to read all of it. But I just wanted to highlight some really important parts that we wanted to instill within the Biotech Entrepreneurs. First is collaboration. We thought that good ideas and innovation happens when people work together as a team and form these ideas. Second, education. Kevin talked about our boot camp a little bit, and really trying to give our members the kind of toolkit and the vocabulary to start their own company. It's interdisciplinary. So people from across the university can join in because people have different talents, whether it be design or life science or mechanical engineering or business. People have things that they can give to these life science, biotech, or tech companies to help them grow. And lastly, some sort of improvement on human health. So a lot of our tech ventures that come through are biotech, that's biotech entrepreneurs. So to give you an idea of why we started this company, when my friends and I got here, we knew that after our PhDs or after our master's program, we wanted to pursue a startup. But this is kind of what we saw. It was a mess of different things. There's a lot of different resources available to us here as students throughout the school and throughout the Boston area, but it was all kind of scattered. With enough meetings and some funding, we were able to form the Biotech Entrepreneurs, which kind of brought all of these organizations together so we can, if somebody comes with a biotech idea, we can kind of we can give them the tools to pursue that and point them in the right direction afterwards on where to go, whether it be mentorship from VMN or some alumni who has some experience in the area, or it be Mass Bio or anything like that. I like Venn diagrams. So to give you an idea of the makeup of our members, we're graduate students who are interested in pursuing life science, medical device, med tech, and who are also entrepreneurial. Like I said, with enough meetings, we were able to get funding. So thank you to Mark Meyer. I don't know if you're here today, but he gladly took a flyer on us and gave us a decent amount of money to help start this. And then I'd also like to thank Dan Gregory for the Mosaic Fund, who's helping us keep us going. To give you an idea of where we fall in the student-led entrepreneurship ecosystem here at Northeastern, with the E-Club, you got the IEHEGO Lab, and all these awesome student-led organizations. We fall in as one of those organizations underneath NUSI and underneath this Mosaic Fund. So our main deliverables throughout the year are we have a seminar series featuring some really awesome people throughout the area. We have a boot camp, which I know Kevin mentioned. We also have our SEED event, which stands for the Science and Engineering Entrepreneurship Design event. So our seminar series, we hold about monthly. We've featured some really awesome people, such as Jay Bradner, who is now president of NIBR, Novartis Institutes for Biomedical Research. We've had the CEO of MassBio come, Bob Coughlin. We've had Kush Parmar, who is managing partner over at 5AM Ventures, come. So we've had a pretty distinguished series. This coming semester we're focusing on bringing people from the angel investment community or from the VC community to come and give talks on what they look for in startups. I'm not going to go too much into the boot camp because Kevin kind of talked about it, but basically we had 4 modules and teach students the ropes on how to take a idea that maybe you came up with in your lab and to commercialize it. And thank you to Kevin for donating some of your time and teaching the course. And lastly, I know some of you were at the SEED competition. It was the first one. We had 4 teams participate to win a small SEED grant. We're hoping to make that a little bit bigger this year. But I think it went really well for our first try. So we had 2 winners, 3D Fortify and Bion, who you'll see present today. And probably my most proudest achievement is getting 2 of our teams into the finals of Match Challenge. That's kind of what a few of our So big congratulations to 3D Fortify and Therapeutic Innovations. I know you guys are all working really hard at that. So thank you so much for taking your time. I don't want to take time away from you guys hearing the Ventures speak, but please come talk to me afterwards if you have any questions. All our contact information for the biotech entrepreneurs is on this slide. So thank you. Head on my website. Thank you so much.
Before we introduce the first venture, I just wanted to remind everyone, before we introduce the first venture, which happens to be Carlos' venture, we would like to remind everybody that these are information presentations, not pitches. And so we will get to the pitches later down the line. So please enjoy the presentations, and then there will be 5 minutes of questions allowed after each presentation. And at the end of the event, each one of the ventures has a table in the rear of the room where you can do more networking with them and get to know them, the founders better, and to get to know their ventures a little bit better as well. Thank you.
All right, so to the meat of the event today, I'd like to introduce my colleague, my really good friend, and my boss, Josh Martin, who is CEO, CTO of 3D Fortify. Good luck.
Good afternoon, everybody. Carlo, thanks for that sweet introduction. I'd like to thank you, first of all, for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come meet with us today. Definitely appreciate it. And as Carlo mentioned, my name's Josh. I'm here to speak to you about 3D Fortify. We're an advanced manufacturing startup based out of Northeastern, and I'm here today to talk about our platform technology, which I believe will revolutionize the custom biomedical device industry, and many more. So the current unmet need that we're focused on addressing right now has to do with prosthetic devices, specifically the prosthetic socket receiver. Now, this is the interface between an actual prosthetic limb and the residual limb of a patient, and so it has very important function and is usually the source of discomfort. And so these current devices are manually intensive to make, take lots of time. Because of this, they're expensive. Because of human errors and other issues, there's oftentimes an imperfect fit, which leads to discomfort and further down the road, poor durability. And so the real novelty with our tech is we're able to use magnetic assembly to 3D print custom reinforced composites. We can reinforce composites with carbon fiber, calcium phosphate, which also happens to be biocompatible, and other materials. And this is really the secret sauce, where we're able to get materials that are stronger, cheaper, and customized. And so this combines the ability to create complex geometries given to you through 3D printing with the ability to reinforce these complex geometries. So our current product starts with a 3D scan. This is used to create a patient-specific device. It's run through a proprietary optimization regime, which is then finally 3D printed. The part is printed with our patented technology. And so the specific part of this prosthetic that I'm talking about here is actually this white zone here, which is customized based on the patient's morphology. So our tech has been proven in high-impact academic publications. It's received a fair amount of funding from the NSF, NIH, and other DoD sources. And we currently have 2 functioning prototypes in the lab down the hall, one based on SLA technology, as well as direct-write extrusion-based 3D printing. And usually as soon as I mention the tech, someone asks about what the IP state is. And so I won't go into too much detail, but the processing and the materials involved are protected, and we have some pending IP as well to cover some of the other devices. So with the current model, a patient will see a prosthetist. The prosthetist will measure, cast, and create a check socket. And while you're waiting for this to cure, you have to come back a couple weeks later, have the final part assembled, and make further adjustments to the patient. And this whole process can take 6 weeks. And it was interesting for me to find out that 6 weeks is actually enough for significant muscle loss, changes in swelling to occur. And so by the time a patient can come back and get their actual device, it's not going to fit as well as it should. And this leads to discomfort and other pressure points that cause these parts to fail. And so we're looking to change this business model by allowing for fast iterations between device design, including or utilizing 3D scanning in conjunction with MRIs, CT scans, so you can actually take into account where a specific bone might be causing pressure versus just the overall topography of a person's residual limb. And then finally, the part will be printed and delivered in conjunction with a prosthetist to create a better fitting, more comfortable, and more durable part, faster than the current model. So we have a pretty rock star team based out of Northeastern. Our founding professor is here, Professor Randall Erb. He leads the Directed Assembly of Particles and Suspensions Lab down the hall in this building. I'm currently a PhD student in the final stages of my program here, working on the materials for the printing devices. We were actually able to snag Phil and Carlo from the biotech entrepreneurs, and they're really helping out on the BD and financial side. And we have 3 really talented and motivated engineers that are leading the charge on product design, the manufacturing apparatuses, and the software for the system. And so our next steps are really focused on business development and fundraising, specifically looking at engaging strategic partnerships and approaching investors. The bottom line is we're looking to raise some seed funding. And on the R&D side, we're looking to design our system for scaling up to produce larger parts. So this is going to take into account design for manufacturing as well as increasing our material palette. So with that said, I'd like to thank you for your time. After these talks are over, I'll be in the back corner. So please come by and chat. I'd love to discuss this with you. So thank you.
Joshua, does anyone have any questions for Josh? Yeah.
Okay, questions? Yeah, we'll start on that side and we'll work this way.
We have to ask questions into the microphone.
Josh, do you think your device is going to be regulated as a medical device?
Yeah, so the nice thing about this is since none of the parts are actually going into the body, it has to pass a Class 1 approval, which is really just contact with the skin for extended periods of time. And the matrix that we're using or the materials we're using have already been cleared for that. And so I don't see that as being a huge regulatory hurdle. It does have to be done, but I think that that'll be a pretty smooth process.
Steve.
Yeah.
Nice presentation.
Thanks.
Josh, is the socket conformable after it's printed? Because somebody's socket changes with diet and time and swelling and things of that nature.
Yeah, that's very true. So the final product in the current model and the model we're going for is not But the difference here is with the current model, if you want to get a new part, you have to go through that whole 6-week process from beginning to end. And with this one, we'll actually have a digital file on hand that allows for really quick iterations. Even if you were to break it, for example, you could just print you another model and send it to you. So I think it'll help a lot with the iterations and making future changes to the parts. Yes.
Yeah, excuse me. I assume from your earlier response that you won't go through traditional clinical trials. Is that correct?
Clinical trials, we're definitely going to need to engage with people that have amputations to get an idea of what systems work.
How soon could you deal with a live customer?
As soon as we can scale the model. So our prototypes right now, the footprint is a little too small to print physical parts for, say, a femur amputation or a lower limb, upper limb amputation. And so once we scale, we'll actually be able to put these on the body.
What kind of time frame would that be?
So we think we can create a scaled model in 3 months. Yeah, so we're looking to raise the funding for that. Any other questions? Let's see one more in the back.
Your software process, the CAT, is that custom built or is that off the shelf?
Right now it's custom built, and so it uses finite element analysis to look at the principal stresses and strains, and that's going to dictate how we reinforce each section of the part.
Anyone else? Oh, yeah.
Maybe one last question. Okay.
The patents, so do you co-own those, like with the NIH? Are they part of your research grant?
So there were filed, one of them was filed through Northeastern, and so we would be pulling it out of the school or licensing it from the school. The other one was filed during a Capstone project, and the terms are a little bit different, so the students own the majority of that. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Josh. All right, so next we have Garima, who is the CEO of Bion. So.
Hello, everybody. My name is Garima. I'm a rising fourth-year PhD student in the Department of Chemical Engineering, and I work with Tom Webster in the Nanomedicine Lab. I'm here on behalf of Bion. At Bion, we make nanostructured antimicrobial coatings. So a large number of orthopedic implants fail due to infection, and this leads to great patient risk and discomfort. Infection can increase the average hospital stay of a patient by about 21 days, which greatly increases the total healthcare cost. At Bion, we plan to fight this problem by reducing bacterial adhesion. This increases the overall lifetime of the implant and also decreases the cost of healthcare. With the current technology that we have, our nanostructured coating, it works well against both gram-positive and gram-negative strains of bacteria, and we've even shown that it works against an antibiotic-resistant strain of bacteria. Our technology is currently being licensed by Tiber Medical, which is an orthopedic firm that is using to coat their orthopedic implants, especially their screws. They also are helping us with expedited FDA approval. With the technology that we have, we plan to enter the medical device coating market, which is valued at around $11 billion in 2020, and we plan to capture about 0.1% share of this market. In the future, we plan to also have a pipeline of other medical implants like stents and pacemakers, which are coated with this antimicrobial coating, as well as surgical tools like cameras and scalpels. We are currently protected by a patent filed by Northeastern University in January 2016, and we plan to solidify our IP further by follow-on claims and working on this base patent to come up with a bunch of different technologies. Our licensee, Tiber Medical, is helping us pursue FDA approval. We are right now pursuing an IRB-approved medical study at Duke University, and as soon as the study is over, we plan to do a full-scale clinical research also at Duke Medical Center. Our team consists of a bunch of really talented engineers and a person from the business school, Kevin, who has been really crucial in putting together our business plan and helping us with the business development of this venture. Most of us are chemical engineers. So right now, we are looking for mentors in manufacturing, regulatory affairs, marketing, and IP. And this is where all of you guys can help us. Thank you. And with that, I'd take any questions.
Questions? All right. Well, thank you. There will be time at the end to chat with the ventures individually also. Thank you.
I'd also like to mention that Garima is on the team of Therapeutic Innovations, who is in Mass Challenge right now. So good work. Last but not least, we have Anvesh, who is the CEO of Boston Materials out of the DAPS lab as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Anvesh Garjala. I'm the CEO of Boston Materials, and we're an advanced materials processing technology company. Michael Siegel and I, who is not here yet, but we co-founded Boston Materials after graduating from Northeastern with our mechanical engineering degrees. And currently I'm a PhD student here at Northeastern in Dr. Erb's lab, and Michael is a full-time effort at Boston Materials. In addition, we have a strong group of advisors and mentors, specifically in business development and the technical specialties. Boston Materials is focusing on advanced composites, specifically magnetic assembly, and applying it to bulk manufacturing. Advanced composites are found everywhere, from cell phones to airplanes, and now even inside the body. And magnetic assembly is encompasses several techniques that allow fine control of materials and their properties. And bulk manufacturing is a standardized practice that allows high volume production at lower costs. And a common example of bulk manufacturing is roll-to-roll fabrication. The market that we've identified consists of approximately 1,500 laboratories globally that work on magnetic assembly. And currently, these laboratories need standardized manufacturing equipment to really progress their research, and this equipment does not exist until now. And there is also a lot of potential in moving this technology into industrial scale manufacturing, as there's a lot of interest in big players in the industry. So far, we've completed beta testing of our proof of concept device with Dr. Erb's lab, where we have over 3 months of in-field usage. Based on the results and conclusions, we are developing a finished product which will be ready by September, and it will be fully built, functioned, tested, and ready to sell. Looking into the future, we want to implement our technology into large-scale fabrication processes. Boston Materials manufacturing equipment not only enhances the research that's going on, but also validates and allows commercialization of breakthroughs. For example, recently, Dr. Erb's group and collaborators at MIT have developed breakthrough lithium-ion battery electrodes that yield a 200% performance increase over the state-of-the-art. Breakthroughs like this can now further be refined, developed, and commercialized for the first time thanks to Boston Materials manufacturing equipment. Our technology can also be used for biomedical, energy, and defense applications in the future. So far, our main focus is product development, legal protection, and sales. We have product development and mentors who are helping us with product validation and design for manufacturing. However, we do need help on advice to the path to convert our provisional patents to full patents, and also review our articles of incorporation. And lastly, we also need people and mentors who have experience with customer acquisition to help us grow our company. With that, I conclude this presentation, and thank you very much for your time today. Any questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone, for your presentation. So these 3 ventures are just a small sampling of over 200 ideas that are in the pipeline at Northeastern, whether in the idea pipeline or coming out of the technology and the biotech technology entrepreneurship groups. The network, since its inception 18 months ago, has grown exponentially, and so we are grateful for the ventures taking their time to come and present to you and share with you their ideas, and we are also very grateful for all of you coming out today and for volunteering your mentorship to them. The network has over 200 contacts now. We have made over 66 introductions between mentors and ventures. And we have so many more ideas in the pipeline, so we're so grateful to all of you for your time and your support. And there's a lot of learning to be done. I know that normally at this point in the program, we ask some of the mentors to share any learning they have or successes or maybe some hot topics that they are seeing within their group. So if anybody has anything they'd like to share today as far as what they're working on with their groups, that would be terrific. We also have some new ventures that are coming through that are seeking Science Foundation funding through the I-Corps program. I know that we sort of made mention of that in the last meeting, and we have since launched 2 I-Corps ventures, program ventures, and I'd like to thank the mentors who are here today for taking the time to step up and take. It's a real step up in the commitment of time and travel and the duration of the mentorship. So I thank you for that. Mike Cavaretta, who I believe is here somewhere, just returned from Austin, where he launched an I-Corps program with one of our ventures. I don't know if you want to make any statements about that or share some of what you experienced down there.
Yeah, it was actually...
Go into the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. It was a really amazing experience. If any of you have the opportunity to do that, I would strongly encourage you to do it. So basically, the program is to take academic researchers and get them to start thinking like entrepreneurs. Basically, it's an accelerated version of Stephen Blank's Lean Startup course that he teaches at Stanford. And, it's very intensive. Even in just, the first few days, I could see a major transformation in the entrepreneurial lead in terms of, the way he was thinking. So, his initial presentation really focused on the technology, as most researchers naturally would do. By the end of the 3-day program, he was really laser focused on, on the customer. Basically, what the customer's needs and wants are, and how this technology potentially could satisfy that. So it was really spectacular.
Thanks so much.
Second team launching soon. Paul Crocus offered to mentor another applicant to the National Science Foundation I-Corps program. So they'll be starting up shortly. And we've also going to be adding Steve Racketon and Mike O'Neill to that team to help with software support and engineering. So we're growing teams in other ways. There are many ways to engage with the network. The seed competition afforded an opportunity for some of our mentors to be panel judges. There are many opportunities for one-on-one mentorship through the IDEA program. So we look forward to engaging everyone, not only on teams, but also in other ways in the coming year. So thank you very much for coming today.
Can I just say one more thing about NSF? So for those who are going to be mentors, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd encourage you to reach out to other people who have done it, because it's really helpful to know, what the expectations are, weeks in advance. So I'm happy to let you pick my brain on that.
Dick Anderson has also gone through I-Corps. Anyone else in the room, just in case, for anyone's curious? Okay. So, if you're curious about I-Corps, find one of these guys that have been through before. Anyone else want to share updates about the ventures that they're working with, or thoughts, In general, Dan, take it away.
Thank you. Catherine, Steve, and I met last week, and is this on? I mean, I know people can hear me, but okay, cool. We are going to look at kind of effective mentoring practice of early stage ventures, and with a specific purpose of improving or making available to mentors, sort of training and workshops to help mentors be more effective. These are, and we've talked about this before, these are very early stage ventures, and many of you are experienced entrepreneurs who are used to working with ventures that are moving through different growth stages. And I think there's a unique opportunity to really become experts at the mentoring of early stage ventures. My request is any specific ideas that you have around what you think we could do to support our mentoring group, our mentoring network, would be very appreciated. If anyone wants to spend time, in supporting it on a more ongoing basis, the development of training programs, we'd certainly welcome that. So just no need to respond at this point, but if you could be in touch with Catherine, probably is the best point person on this. We will incorporate your ideas. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. So each of the ventures will now recess to their high top tables. So for more conversation about their ventures, and the steering committee is going to meet over on the side of the room quickly, just for a quick meeting. So thank you so much for coming today.